Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a gold Hammond. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join the Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. Okay. So, you're Hammond, you're set up with a Reinhardt, which is a workable but not amazing combination. But my bigger concern with your team comp right out the bat, and this doesn't have to be a situation of, oh, you've lost because your team comp is suboptimal. But Lucio Brig is a very hard team composition to make work. There are teams at the professional level who have been like, this is a good combination, they have made this work. But even at the professional level, a lot of teams have struggled to try to make this one work. It requires some really, really good coordination to get away with the support that these two offer. So you are going to have to play into your role as Hammond of being able to use health packs even more heavily than normal, because heals, even with Soldier maybe helping a little with his healing station, are going to be in pretty short supply. So that's kind of the thing that should jump out to you about your comp right now. You need to rely even more on health packs than usual. Hey, Semitic! Okay, Soldier got a couple eliminations, so that helps out. You can see their comp now. We're well past the 15-second mark. We're pressing tab reveals them. So, we don't really like this. No, we got a bigger rewind than we wanted there. My apologies. Hey, Nordstorm. Poor Ryan with Lucio Brig. Yeah. So it's very unlikely that if your Reinhardt and Soldier are engaging from this direction, that you also want to engage from this direction. It's much more likely that you want to potentially engage from around the outside if this is the direction that your team is engaging from. You don't really want to go have your dive come from your team. You want to sort of knock them potentially towards your team or knock them to the side to delay them. You don't really want to explosively go through your team to try to knock them back, to knock the opponents back or anything like that. A, because you don't want the opponents to back up. They're down 2 people. But B, because damage is already going to be aimed at your team, say at your Reinhardt, and if you come from the direction of your team, damage that was meant for him, was meant to chip down his shield, is going to end up hitting you. And we don't really like that. We actually would like to have them have to crank their body, turn their camera, and look over there at you, which pulls their weapons away from your team. Or if they don't pull their weapons away from their team, you get in with full health, which is cool too. Miles says, hey, I'm the ball, and I'm going to say outright, I don't know where many of the megas are on this map, so rip. Okay, fair enough. Ones that are immediately going to be relevant to you is there's one underneath here in the basement, and there's also one on the other side of the wall there, sort of on the outside path, and there's also one down here. Those are all going to be relevant megas for you as you try to sort of live to the side and behind this approaching red team. So, to show you, Mega. These are the ones that are most relevant to you right now. So yeah, we don't really like this. In some ways, you're approaching from a different direction than your Lucio, and that's sort of good, but this isn't actually amazing. We don't want to really engage this team when our team isn't really fighting them yet. You see what I'm saying? You guys eliminated 2, but if your team then backs off, you don't really need to go in. So you can go in to go, I'm going to save my Lucio, because I'm afraid my Lucio's going to get into trouble, but conceptually, this isn't amazing. And you just spent your pile drive, that's kind of a meaningful cooldown. Wait for it, don't go in yet, get ready. Okay, here you go. Sure. I can live with that. Not really worth it to melee him. So here you are. This was never going to finish him off. Not even close. Like, not even close to you finishing off this Roadhog here with this melee. And it delays your reload, because you're not reloading while you're meleeing, by more than... How do I put it? By more than the damage it does. Like, if you get your reload back, you can consider yourself able to do reasonable damage to him again. That's not really how it's going to work. You're going to use your abilities while you're reloading. You're going to go into ball form, hit someone with a roll through, maybe go for a pile drive while the reload just naturally happens. But you doing this melee, this elbow, the elbow strike that Hamster is doing here. Oh, we need to rate his melee attack, I suppose. Conceptually, elbows are good. Don't really have any pivot to the base there. Not amazing. But what we get to here is the melee does 30 damage, but it takes half a second. That's delaying your reload, and do you think in half a second you could do more damage with your weapon? Well, the answer is almost certainly yes. Hog has a giant hitbox for you to hit there. And this melee didn't finish him off already. Excuse me, or anything like that. So probably not really worth it. We'd have been better off just going into ball form and figuring out, hey, we want to do a tether through here, roll, and then pile drive and slam, and then by the time that's over, we unball and we shoot again. Except we delayed our ability to do that, our ability to output power, because we did this melee here. Again, the melee could have been great if it was to finish him off, or if it put serious pressure on him, but this isn't meaningful pressure on Hog. This is actually just more time for Hog to point-blank shoot you for a bajillion damage, because you're a huge target to him. Also, elbowing the peck, elbow the head, much more effective. That's true. That's true.
Come here, get stabilized.
Head injuries are much more dangerous than to people that cold ball. Oh. Okay. That's a little dicey. I don't really know that I'd be willing to do this. The one thing that sort of makes this okay is you have full health when you go in for it, and you have your adaptive shield available to you. But, do you really want to challenge 2 stuns? Flash, fan, hook, left click. Do you really want to challenge both of those things? I don't. I might be willing to challenge them if I could get more hits on them. If I could be I'm going to get roll through damage and I'm going to get slam and it's going to be beautiful. I don't really think I want to challenge this McCree in here when the Hog is also right here. So this becomes can you find something better or safer to do? This is fine. You can actually just re-slam this ball. No, you can't re-slam your ball. Never mind. You don't have pile drive. You're low on ammo. This is probably just a wait. To be perfectly honest, this is probably just a wait situation, but that's okay.
Enemy turret.
Okay, you have to fight now. So here you go. You did just pop your adaptive shield and you have most of your ammo. You actually have to use it in fight. You have to basically unball immediately and fight these guys. Because if you look at yourself, you see you've put your adaptive shield on cooldown. You've got this. You got pretty good shield HP out of it. This shield HP doesn't feed the molt charge. But this is on cooldown and this is on cooldown and now this is on cooldown too. So the only thing you have left is this. And this is going right now, and this is here. You have to make use of it. You can't just roll away and do nothing if you used a 15-second cooldown. You have to get value, even if it's just weapon value. And I do want you fighting this Hog now, because you can fight this Hog without also fighting the crate. You're not going to get stunned and hooked, which could potentially be dangerous. You're just going to at a max get hooked. So, fight him, and fight him at a little bit of a range, preferably even a little further away still, where, you're not in that perfect sweet spot right-click range for it. But okay. See, you're just kind of doing nothing. You just spent half that adaptive shield doing nothing. Yeah, congrats. You spent 35 ammo during an adaptive shield? Temporal, which dive map do you like more, Gibraltar or Numbani? Personally, I like Gibraltar quite a bit more. I like Numbani, but I like Gibraltar more. You love watching Hammond chase another Hammond? It's funny to watch Hammonds peel Hammonds, yeah. Benny Hill theme plays in that every time? Okay. No, you were good up there. Okay. It's a little dicey, but you're actually okay. You can 100%. You can very reliably force a roll through here. You saw that you got her weak enough. She's down below 30 health, and your roll through will do 50 damage. You should use your tether to finish her. So, like, we go like this. We don't get the melee. We did get an adaptive shield. It's not an amazing adaptive shield, but we did get an adaptive shield. We want to hit this roll through. We want to go tether, roll through, finish the mercy. If we then can loot back here, fantastic. But we do want to finish this mercy, and we're safe enough to do so. We have our tether back. We have a okay, not great adaptive shield going. The flash isn't going to be enough to stop us, and if we get her right now, we get her. But we do not have the ability to finish her with our weapon. It's very common to have to finish people off with your tether, and it's perfectly fine to do so, as long as you then have a safe place to go, which right now you do. Is it just YouTube? The frames look really slow, and the Semitic says mine looks fine. Okay. On my end, it looks like it's performing okay, so I don't know what's up. Okay. No. You can tell that your Reinhardt is going to be super late contributing to this fight, and while it's true you got the elimination, and that's potentially cool, I'm not really convinced you want to take this fight quite yet. Oh, you're on console. Okay, that helps. Thank you for letting us know that, Miles. So this is a gold console ball review. So Soldier's kind of contributing to this. Lucio's leaving, it turns out. Briggs is leaving. Sim is back here. And you're going in with just Soldier as support. So, like, even though you're up one, you're not really up one. Because Reinhardt, the Fire Strike is pretty much the limit of his contribution to the fight. And everyone else is leaving. It's not really what we want, and you just spent your pile drive and your adaptive shield. And you kind of had to spend your adaptive shield because you just went into 4 or 5 people there, don't get me wrong, but we didn't really need the fight at all. We could have just, they were forced to reset already. We have to recognize where our team is for how much we can do if we're pushing for staggers. Is the other team weak enough relative to the presence our team has? Okay, so, problem. This is a big commitment from you. You've now committed not just those 2 things, your adaptive shield and your pile drive, you've also committed your minefield. Well, you have Soldier with a narrow field of view and Reinhardt sort of trying to support. And Lucio's like, oh, are we fighting after all? I guess I'll go back. But, like, this isn't amazing. You're trying to fight a bunch of people, and they have a lot of ability to peel you, a lot of ability to deal with you because there's a limited number of you contributing. We'd have much rather canceled the next team fight, which probably isn't going to happen for another 10 or 15 seconds with our mines, than invest our mines now. If we invest our mines now and get staggers, potentially worth, as long as they don't get any of us, but that's not super high probability when only 2 people are helping you. So, like, before you go in hard, you have to know, is your team ready to commit? And then using an ult is going in even harder, and it's a big commitment. Was your team ready to commit? Hey, Val. I wouldn't go into that. Like, again, you're re-entering from the direction that your team is pushing from, which we don't like. But also, so, like, Your solution to that, by the way, would have been to slam and then to like go out this way, because if you go out this way, you get the health back, and then you can come back in from this way too if you like, which is different than your team. And if they just try to push you, you can leave forever. They're never going to catch you. So that would have been preferable. You want to think about your exit path when you're leaving, because your exit path can very easily turn into your re-entry path. So that's something that we want to be aware of there. And then they're Valk pushing. I don't really want to do this because like they're rotating through here. If you want to do a roll through, it's a roll through to keep their backline back and to split them up, not to go into the front here, because the front here they can turn around and deal with you, the back can deal with you. This isn't really splitting them up in any way, shape, or form. Your team can't capitalize on this. If your team was going to capitalize on something, it was going to be you like knocking Hog and Moira further back so that they were more split, so that your team could deal with this team group for longer, or that your team could continue to shoot these guys as they rotated across without help. You need a mega. I really think I would have preferred, like, I look at this. You choose to adapt your shield here for not very much. I really would have preferred that you just spend the time to go get this health pack. It does not take Ball very long to leave a fight to go get a mega, and then be in the fight with that, as opposed to, like, if you have to pick between kind of ineffectively using a 15-second cooldown or taking max 3 seconds to go get a mega and come back, get the mega in most situations. I was a little sloppy on the trigger discipline front. Yeah, so you see how being sloppy on the trigger discipline front costs you? Oh yeah, that was a little laggy there. So you right now have 34 shots left, which is plenty to finish her off. Plenty. Except you then shoot your shots down to 18 on nothing.
Oh, let's break it.
And that's just a little sloppy. I don't mind you missing. I mind you shooting when there's clearly nothing there. And then you're like, Moira, oh wait, no, I'm going to swap to Mercy. You're down to 1 shot. You can't swap to Mercy. Now, you could still try to go through a roll through here. The truth is, if Moira does any amount of healing, she's going to survive it. But you could go through for a roll through. They don't have any ability to knock you off the edge or anything. And conceptually being ready to go through roll through finishes is a good concept. Plus, what you could do is you could tether this, fireball yourself through, not let go of your tether, and then try to build up enough speed to fireball back to finish them. That would be the true move here. But I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, we don't need to leave. And if you try for a double fireball, you'll definitely have your weapon reloaded by the time you're done. Drop, drop, drop! You knew she was going to go for that res. You knew it! Heat it. He's done. So go up there. Go up there again. Be ready for the tether. Be ready. As soon as you hear it, you need to be up there trying to move her with your... Like, you need to have tethered to try to swing up there to try to either boop her with your swing, which is going to be really hard, or at least, like, do a lot of damage to her, maybe punish her so she gets eliminated in exchange for the res. You're not worried about the high noon anymore. The trigger's been pulled on that. Could he continue to shoot at you? Sure. But we kind of need to. Your thoughts on Nano Ball Temp? I've always heard it's really good, and Nano Slam is nasty, but to me it just feels a little sad and would rather just hit something else. Nano Ball is uneliminatable. What's his cooldown status? I mean, if he's going to hit... Yeah, Nano Pile Drive is pretty good. If he's going to be able to hit... Like, Nano Hammond... If you understand how a lot of the tanks are designed, they're intentionally designed to be like they can do most of the damage, but they struggle to get that last little bit that finishes someone off. And Nano can be really helpful for hitting those breakpoints. So you tether on something, and you go, hey, maybe I tether up here, and I do a roll through, up, and slam. And you hit your target here, knock them back a little, and slam back into them. So instead of that being 50 damage plus up to 100 damage... and it's never actually 100 damage. It's like, oh, let's get 75 and then up to 150. Well, that's more than 200 damage. And even if you don't get more than 200 damage out of it, it's then going to be very easy to get just a little bit of damage out of your weapon, much more so than it normally is to finish someone off. So it's certainly got some value. And then, yes, he's very hard to remove, but it's heavily dependent on, does your ball have their cooldowns available? Do they have a good big slam that they can hit, a good swing into slam that they can hit? It's heavily dependent on what's their cooldown status. Nano, but with OG Nano Boost, that would be terrifying on Hammond.
60 seconds remaining.
Taking heavy fire. Photon barrier is set.
Objective lost. Stop the pain.
You don't really fight Soldier like that. Like, this is worthless. No.
Engaging.
In no way. I know you got the McCree earlier when he had a Mercy Pocket because of Briggs' help, but in no way are you interested in fighting from the front someone who's being pocketed by Mercy. You don't use this time to fight Soldier. You use this time to go around and set up behind this team to roll through them from behind and hit a slam and mess them up and distract them as your Reinhardt is pushing into them type thing. Or to boop them forward into your Reinhardt so that he can swing at them, so that Sim can take them down. You do not fight from the same direction as your team here. This is you wasting time. No.
Powering shields.
See, you hit that slam, and Reinhardt used that time to round the corner, but he's still too far away from them to swing on them. You needed to come from this way, and potentially be knocking them towards Reinhardt, or at least be able to see when Reinhardt was walking forward and engage as Reinhardt was engaging. That's what you needed to do. Now Reinhardt is like trying to catch up. He's like jogging and huffing and puffing, trying to catch up to your engage speed. He can't keep up with your engage speed. You have to either sink more to his or bring people to him.
Crusaders!
Tactical visor.
I wouldn't go this way. Like, you're going to have a tough time getting up speed in here. Yeah. Just don't bother. If there's not a hit scan ult in play in gold, I don't recommend you would bother trying to shoot down Falx. You're better off trying to power through the healing they do on another target. Minefield? Good. You needed to body block here. Boom. You need to get to the left. Boom. You're done. Don't move. Unball and don't move. Like, get yourself here. Like, take this tiny little step and then don't move. If you're both moving, he can sometimes muscle his way past you. If you're just like, nope, I'm right here in robot form, he's not going to be able to get past you, and he's going to be standing in a minefield. And he might hook you, he might shoot you, you don't care. You're blocking him from running to the mega, you're blocking him from getting out, you're keeping him in your team's line of sight. It's kind of advanced, what I'm recommending here, but it's kind of awesome too. No. The Roadhog got out. And now he doesn't take the mine damage, and he shoots you in the back, and you're surrounded. I know there was already a Moira over here, but we didn't care about that. And he can go get the Mega, and he's not taking Crossfire from your team. This makes me sad. Okay. Why is it that some days my aim feels on points, other days I wake up with crap aim? Any tips on sleeping for advantage in Overwatch? Have a relatively consistent sleep schedule. Make sure you are, in fact, exercising and eating well, and you will increase the number of times, amount of days, etc., that your aim is good. You will get more consistent. It might not be, if your top aim is up here and your bottom aim is down here, you'll more consistently be performing like here, which is great. But humans do have some variance to them. That's hard to get around. Because some of the things that you do are like stress relieving activities that maybe are bad for you in the short term, but better for your stress levels in the long term. Anyway, yeah. It's interesting how elaborate the area near attacker spawn on first point is on a new body. Other hybrids are not so big and developed near attacker first point spawn. I'd have to think that through more because I'm not sure about that. There's enough going on by first point spawn for attackers at King's Row, for example. You rarely end up dealing with, from attacker's perspective, the left side by attacker spawn, but there's stuff over there. If you're main tank in the comp, do you still want to always be engaging from behind the enemy team? Ball is main tank? Yeah, usually. Because again, you don't main tank if you're ball. You don't main tank by going, aha, I am protecting my team with my large ball form. No, you don't do that. Just like Winston doesn't go, I shall protect my team by standing in front of them as a monkey and wearing a cape. No, that's not what Winston does either. Ball goes, hey, I come from here when my team is defending here, and that rips the opponent's attention towards him, which means the opponent's camera, the opponent's vision, is no longer on his friends, and if it's not on his friends, they can't shoot his friends. So that's what he does. He can, if he's main tanking, go, I'm going in first and I'm initiating, and that means I take a little more of the damage, and the opponents focus their attention on him, but he's still coming in from an angle. If he comes in from this way, it's just excess damage that he's taking, and he doesn't get the enemies turned away from his team as efficiently. Like, they'll turn, I suppose, once he goes past them or into them, etc., but they'll be shooting at him on the way in, and shots that don't hit him will go past and hit his team, and he's not distracting and creating as good an opening as he is if he's coming from the side, from behind, etc. It's very similar to Winston. If Winston was tanking here, Winston wouldn't be like, let me run at the enemy. Winston would be like, oh, let me hop up here and zap down, or zap down type thing. Or Roadhog would be like, oh, let me walk over here and let me play this flank and let me threaten hooks from over here. And you might be like, Roadhog's not a main tank, and you'd be right. But this is still how Roadhog is making space for his team, by making them think about, making them be aware of the spot over here. Dude, I was the enemy soldier. Hey, Asher. So you were 02. Okay, so we've got 2 of the 12 players in the lobby, in the chat. Good stuff. You slammed us. Okay. Meditation worked wonders for me for falling asleep. Also makes for interesting dreams. That's in response to the aim thing. Sure. Yeah, Winston doesn't wear a cape in front of his team to protect them. He puts his bubble down at the choke for them. No, he does not, Nardstorm. And Nard knows that. He's just trying to trigger me. Sure. This is what I'm talking about, by the way. When I say tanks are generally designed where they do most, but maybe not all of the damage. This is a full health ulting soldier, effectively. Hit. No one else on his team has really hit this soldier yet, and this soldier, and you see it wasn't a perfect pile drive, so he didn't get 100 damage out of it, is down here. And there's enough, if his aim is good, there's enough damage in this clip to take down this soldier. Like, there's more than enough in this clip. But if he has even average aim, it's hard work to get the rest of this gone before he runs out of ammo. And that's intentionally how the hero is designed. And if soldier gets any healing, it becomes almost impossible. So, like, especially if he's not accurate with the, like, early and the middle parts of this clip. So, like, this is how tanks are designed, and so that they don't steal the show, so that someone else can get the finishes when the tank gets the good initiation like this. But you still want to get good at getting the finishes yourself, which you do like this. And yeah, this was a bit of, so you said you were feeding hardcore, you being the soldier, and like, no, you don't do this. You could have happily visored from here. This visor from here, totally fine. You didn't want to drop behind until this team was softened up more. 02. your team is pushing from this direction, your team is under pressure because of the minefield, I probably would have just said don't even visor yet, but if you're going to visor, you stay up here with the visor until this team is softer, and if this team all huddles under here where you can't see them with your visor, that's fine, you just run out this way, and you're still shooting at them from a different angle than your team, which still gives it some good power. No, Tim. The closer to the epicenter, if you're right at the epicenter, it's 100, but it scales down as you move out from it. Might have confused Gerald with Blossom. Ah! Yes, that would have been a better Blossom. Still, the timing wouldn't have been amazing, but it would have been a better Blossom. Oof, you were doing so much following rather than tracking with your primary fire. What? Adaptive shield right now. Right now. Right now. You rolled away and then adaptive shield, and then hit adaptive shield, so you got a tiny little adaptive shield instead of a two-person adaptive shield. Oh, that's just an order of operations error.
I have located the enemy.
System initialized.
Reality bends to my will.
Okay.
Cover.
Shield engaged. Repairing. Now. Engaging. Repairing. Now.
So this is cute and all. I can't see any of your teammates. So I know Lucio's in there, but the rest of your team is back here, or all the way back in third, or not even spawned yet. So, like, you're going in right now. Maximum uptime is not our goal as ball. That's not our goal as ball. We're looking to make our engagements when our team can contribute. If we just go for maximum uptime and try to, like, hit the other enemy team as many times as possible, what's going to end up happening is you're not going to get eliminations because it's too easy to peel you when 3 or 4 of them can pay attention to you at no cost. They can do so at no cost when your team isn't threatening them. But also, you're going to then end up, even if you hit them the maximum number of times, you're going to not have your big abilities, your adaptive shield and your pile drive available for that time when your team actually is ready to engage. So it'll be like, but I got 3 engages in the time my team got 1. Yeah, but your big cooldowns were 4 seconds away, and your engage was therefore 4 seconds away when your team was ready to make the engage. And Hammond is a dive hero. Make no mistake. Dive heroes work because they synchronize up their burst. They struggle. They don't quite have enough to do it all by themselves, but they can synchronize their burst to hit breakpoints. If they don't hit that breakpoints and actually convert into eliminations by being like slam plus Genji dash, slam plus Tracer double blinks in and does something, slam plus Ash shoots someone out of the air with that. Like, if you don't combo for those breakpoints, you're not going to be strong enough. Dive is about, stacking abilities together. It's about like, okay, let's hit a bunch of abilities at once and then sort of try to stabilize for a moment out of the fight, maybe with our mobility, whatever, and then we can go back in and do it again. That's what you're about. So if you just go maximum uptime, it's not actually going to be to your benefit. This won't get anything done. But we'll get you all eliminated, it looks like. Winston's job is to be as cheeky as possible. Yeah. Anytime I think of Rally, I wonder just how long it got away with that extra damage reduction bug it had ages ago. Yeah. It doesn't help that Blizzard doesn't always publish the numbers for us exactly as we'd like, but hey.
60 seconds remaining. The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Leave. Mega. Go get a Mega.
I am ready to activate the sound barrier.
There's a mini over there you can use. There's a mini here you can use too, but that was way too long to decide what to do. Go get the Mega. mega or excuse me, mini. Your mega's over here and wasn't really accessible to you. But get your mini before you go into this. Like, if you look at how much time you wasted, I think if I replay this for you, you're going to be sad. Here you are. Two tanks show up, one of which can hurt you a lot. We don't like it. We don't like it at all. We leave. We're down to 150 health. We don't like it. You should now be going for a mini. Get a health pack. You could be going, I'm going to go over here and get a health pack and then continue to roll through and get this health pack. You could be going back into spawn to get healed up, that would be really far. Like, you could be going over here, that wouldn't be great. Your best routing probably was through here into here and then circling back and thinking about going through here. That was probably your best routing. It really doesn't take you very long as ball. Let's look what you do instead. Doing nothing, doing nothing, doing nothing, doing nothing. Really doing nothing. Really doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Maybe going for a mini? Okay, going for a mini. That was a long time in ball years. And ball years are really short because ball is really fast. You could go fight these guys. You could. But that mini looks really tempting. And you don't have a tether to, like, finish these guys off, and you know it, so it would be really easy to go get that. You still have adaptive shield for a bit. It's not perfect, but to have gone and gotten that health pack and then fought these guys and maybe minefielded them in here and booped them into your minefield while they were stuck in here. Like, that could have been a lot better than this. I like that you're fighting them from behind now. Good, you're dragging Coalescence away from your team. I like it. Okay. What's the ratio of ball years to dog years? Good question. I'll let you know once I'm done making it up. Okay. Good, knock him off. Okay, fine. Didn't really need to tether there. Melee? Good. But we don't want to come from the same direction as our Reinhardt. You do want a pile drive to lock them in here. Pile drive, good. Why? I mean, he's huge. Your target is huge. Why are you shooting me in the leg? Like, this isn't... Maybe this should work. Maybe this should be like, ah, yes, I see a joint. It's a weak spot. We'll hit it for critical damage. It's not that kind of game, unfortunately. His crit box is up here. Maybe this should, be like, maybe this should be critical damage. Maybe it should be a weak point as a joint. Maybe you should be able to be like, aha, I destroyed the left weapon and now he does less damage. I destroyed the weapon and now he can't move in robot form. Maybe this should be a thing, but that's not how Overwatch works. So, like, we go here, and now you're like, aha, I'll shoot the middle? The middle? Okay, now we're aiming up for the crit box, but it's too late. No. You want to hold tether. You want to get this timing. What you're looking for, and what our central theme so far looks like, is you want to hit him from a different angle than your team, which you're about to do, but you want to do it when the fight is getting real, or when your team can take advantage of it. So, like, in a moment, main tank game, yeah, there you go. in a moment, this is going to be great. This could be like, hey, if the opponent, like if you look at where your team is and you can see your team through walls and you have a good idea of where the opposing team is, you can tuck left so that they don't shoot at you. You want to engage either when your team comes up and is ready to fight them here, because then this is the spot that they're fighting, or when these guys run here, because then they're visible to your team. That's when you want your engage to happen. Guess what? This is not that. You're rolling in like this is your engage when there's no fight happening. So now everyone can pay attention to you if they want. And even if you get ability value, your team's not going to be able to follow up on it. They're not going to be able to follow up on a Mercy or a Moira that you knock out of position into the open because they don't have those angles. I knew it because it's me. Fair enough. Okay. The window's really not a big deal to you. I'm surprised you even bothered to roll away. Like, here you are. Hold in. You're immediately going to pile drive. Like, you're done. You immediately hop back out of pile drive. Why did you go this far away? Like, what's your plan? It's just more time for them to shoot at you.
Denied.
Hate to nano split. Yeah, a character that loses parts if they take damage could be interesting. I'm not totally sure it fits Overwatch, but neither do someone like Doomfist, so you can do it. You would have to tune them to be strong when they have all their parts, and, you know, get weaker. That might make them a must pick, and you'd have to decide how you wanted to handle healing. Do you want healing to restore parts or not? Okay. Okay. Engagement direction is the biggest thing. Engagement timing is the secondary thing so far. We could talk more into getting good value out of your adaptive shield. We could, into engagement timing, funnel in, don't just go for maximum numbers of engagements, but that really is in the subcategory of engagement timing. We could talk about main tank aim a little. Could get a little more into your health pack stuff, because that was especially relevant with your original support comp. But we're probably getting into engagement direction and engagement timing primarily. That said, let's see how round 2 goes.
Ready for battle.
Lose parts, so it's basically Diva, but with more parts. Could be, yeah.
Impatient.
Thank you, Ethan. It seems that you are growing from your original programming as well. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Enemy target located.
Better. I don't love this. Who do you think can follow up on this? I see Echo stickies, so maybe Echo. Can anyone else follow up on this? Can anyone else follow up on you investing? I mean, now all of your abilities have been invested. So, Pile Drive. Can anyone follow up on this investment? Because after this, you're going to have to wait for Pile Drive to come back, potentially. You're going to have to go find health packs. Is your team going to, like, get an amazing rotation out of this? Is your team going to get eliminations out of this? Let's turn around and look. No. Echo's the only one. Echo's the only one who can contribute to this. Orisa and Orisa's going to take her time to advance. Bastion's going to take time to advance. Brig is going to take time to advance. Bap is going to take time to advance. You're a good at least 3 seconds before anyone besides the two of you is in this fight, and you're going, yeah, let me do this. No. Okay. Good. That was good. And now you're playing from a different angle. Better. Don't go in yet. Fine.
Coordinate your attacks on the objective.
Okay, if he's not going to pay attention to you, you can just wait the extra second for your tether, but sure. Okay. I'm not remotely convinced I want to fight him. Like, that's a pocketed McCree. As soon as you failed to knock him off, I'm not even convinced I'd have stopped my roll through here, because if he doesn't get knocked off, I'm not really interested in fighting him. If he gets knocked onto the ground, I'll fight him. But again, continue your roll through unless you get flashed. Mercy's paying attention to him. You're not going to take him down unless someone else hits him. Just leave. Just go right back into ball form, which gets rid of your head crit box and lets you get down here faster to safety. Get the mega. Good. And now go bother Kree again. Nope. Nope. It's your job to bother Kree again. It's your job to bother Kree again. That's too long not providing value. McCree is what will win this fight for them. So, like, if you look at this, I see that you're going to cap, so it's not the end of the world. But, like, in a higher level game, maybe you're thinking, no, I knocked ball away and that stopped ball from contesting and that's why we capped. In a higher level game, if this problem of a mercy boosted Kree on high ground is not solved, your team will lose. Your team will lose, you're on the clock. Now at this point, he's on the clock because so much of the cap has happened, but as soon as you got this health back, you needed to come right back up and see if there was an opportunity to re-challenge him. And, you know, maybe that was fighting him, maybe that was trying to boop him off, maybe that was actually just sitting back here where he couldn't see you, and like threatening him knowing that you're there so that he's not willing to play close to the edge, so his angle on your team isn't very good, so he's partially solved. He's solved to a degree that Mercy doesn't want to pocket him anymore, because his angle isn't aggressive enough. He had faith in his echo, sometimes he just trusts. No, no. You'll notice I'm not complaining about this. So here you are. This is whatever, because you had the option as you were doing that to leave instead, and you go in here for this pile drive, and it's like, Temporal, why aren't you complaining? His follow-up is going to be limited. Only part of his team is here. Because this team is in full retreat. This team has lost too many people. They're not going to try to make a stand and fight you. They're going to retreat. Even if you send 2 people at them, this team is going to try to retreat, because they understand that they're just too massively behind at this point, and his team is pretty darn close to supporting him. You just have to get a ability to recognize that, a feel for like, okay, after they've lost one person, they might still fight you. After they've lost a bunch of people, even if they have technically the number of people they have remaining are more than the number of people that you have pursuing them, they're gonna run from you because you have the threat of any second more people joining you, whereas everyone knows that their reinforcements are more than 10 seconds away. Don't roll away. Just Gatling gun from here. Literally just stand here and Gatling gun. You shoot from here. Your team shoots from here. This is great. This is great. You have shots. You don't have a tether. What are you doing? Okay, better. Good. And now you just do a roll through. Fine.
Behind you.
Go circle around. Go circle around. Bastion has the right idea. You can go left circle instead if you want. Sure. Wait, 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 wait. Too early, too early, too early. No? Sure, you can field ball. Go left, 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 not main. That brings a smile to my face. I like that he got punished for standing there and typing. No, why? Payload reached the checkpoint. Payload reached the checkpoint. I would rather win this fight than lose this fight. It's true. And I guess I'm willing to use an ult to win this fight, but I'm really hesitant to invest in this fight. If we get wiped, our respawn is right there. Right there. Not a big deal. I'd kind of prefer to have ults for the next fight.
Area
I'd also,
denied.
whatever.
Minefield
And then you're
deployed.
not even going to pile drive? Like, if you're going to minefield this, at least go for your pile drive immediately afterwards. You didn't give yourself enough height for it. Okay. Because there's a small lockout when you hit minefield. Unfortunate. Hold your tether. Hold your tether. No! You want to hold your tether because you don't know what Mercy's going to do yet. This is pretty meaningless. Okay. She's not going to go for the rest. Lucky you. Your damage there isn't super important, and you wanted to make sure you had your tether available to interrupt Mercy. But that's not a big deal. Good. Good. Go up for the Mega. No. Mega. 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 Fine. Roll through him. You didn't really need to drop. Okay. It's a fair amount of damage into a back that was already broken. Okay. Stop trying to follow Diva. Tracking is not an exercise in keeping in being like, she's going this way, so let me follow her type thing. Let me follow her type thing. It's not an exercise in like trying to follow her with your mouse. That's not what tracking is. Tracking is an exercise in flicking to just ahead of her. So she jumped like this. So you go, aha, I flick over to here. And then I actually try to lead her ever so slightly. I'm not leading her like way over here. Or, like she's right here, so my crosshair is here. I'm leading like she's right here, so my crosshair is here. My crosshair is here type thing. And then, as a result of that, you're going, okay, fine, she's doing that, whatever. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to keep trying to shoot, in this case, more like her right hip because she's going downward potentially. But in general, if she was on the ground level, you'd be going, I'm going to try to shoot her in the right shoulder. I'm going to try to shoot her in the right arm. And because it's hard to stay ahead of her like that, your crosshair is going to drift back naturally, even though you're trying to stay ahead of her, just a little ahead of her, not like way out here, but just like, just to the right of her. You're actually going to more end up hitting her center mass. Even with an instant travel weapon, that's how you want to do your tracking. And this matters for Hammond specifically. I know you are going to have some main tank aim, and that's fine, but like, if you want to get finishes on Hammond, I talked about, 50 plus up to 100 for 150. If you want that remaining 50 damage, there's more than enough in this 80 ammo clip. There really is, but most Hammond players will get a little bit at the beginning, and then it'll get really poor from there. And you see that happening here. And jumping heroes like this are really easy to track because their fall arc is very predictable. And you didn't get enough. And she's jumping for you. Her movement is not terribly unpredictable. Oh no. Oh no. And also, can you finish her? You can't. You don't quite have the ability to finish her, but you do have a tether. So like, could you have gotten another melee in her and then finish her with your tether? But those are cheats. That hurts. All the way for the Mega. Mega, Mega, Mega. Mega's to your left. Mega's behind you. Mini? No. That's a wall. That's still a wall. That's too much ammo that you're spending on a wall. Okay, so you have almost 5 minutes to not even finish the map. I believe in you. That's not your spawn anymore. The triple repair pack. Your team needs help to get in. Your team's help to get in does not involve you engaging from this direction. It involves you rolling through here, getting this mini, and engaging from this direction. Rolling through here, coming through here, and engaging from this direction. From this direction. All these things, even if you don't actually engage, even if they just see you go this way, cause them to go, oh shoot, we have to be a little bit more aware of that. We have to be a little bit more. Huh? Do we want to check that every 4 seconds? Every 5 seconds? Do we want to dedicate one person to staring that way while the rest of us look this way? Whatever they do, it's a little bit of a distraction to them in some way, which actually makes it easier for your team to push in. More so than you doing this. Nope. Nope. Don't do it. Don't do it. Good. Just leave. The thing about Hammond is you just leave 1v1s you don't like. No, no. Oh, that's rough, 0-2. You gotta adjust to taking damage, 0-2. Okay, this can be good. You lost too many people. No. Where's your team? This might feel like it's going to be good. You have the supercharger going. I do sort of get it. I don't really like it with these two back here, plus your Bastion and Spawn. I don't really like you doing this, but I suppose the other team is in a little bit rough shape as well. Oh, and then you didn't even pile drive. Okay. Just close the angle. Back up. Back up so that Moira can't shoot you and shoot at the diva. That actually helps you because her weapon is primarily super spread, and that gets worse as it gets further away. You have some fall off too, but your spread is much less than hers, so you are happy to fight her at this range, where the Moira beam can't shoot you. No. If you want to go this way, that's fine with me, but you're actually going to go past these guys, so that then you can consider turning them around. If they don't turn around, you just get to drill them in the back. No. You're not about to finish off Diva. Like, why don't you take advantage of your speed and pick that up before pursuing her? Like, she's not, like, about to get eliminated or anything. Don't shoot into the DM. Once she flicks it on, just stop shooting. Once he goes Wraith, stop shooting. Trigger discipline. There's enough damage in your clip, but there's not a ton of excess. Stupid question, but what is best for Hammond to roll through versus roll to bop the guy then shoot? But when is it best for Hammond to roll through versus bop the guy and shoot? Well, it depends what he's trying to accomplish. He might need to roll through if, like, it's a really hard peely team and he's sort of rolling through the edge to knock someone away, but he needs to make sure he can get out. He might want to roll and fight them if their peel is worse or they're more separated and he just rolls to hit someone and then fight them because they were isolated. If they're tight, he might roll through to try to knock them away to separate them so other people can dive them, or so that they fall out of the rotation so that they get taken apart by his poke DPS, etc. It kind of depends what he's playing into and the formation of the enemies, as well as some other things. Is that like a hard engage versus? Yeah, that's very much a hard engage versus soft engage. A hard engage for Hammond could be, you could consider a hard engage for Hammond to be the engage where he goes in hard, he does the swing in, pile drive, adaptive shield, fight type thing. You could consider a soft engage from Hammond either just he does a brief little roll through, or he just opens up and goes robot form behind the enemy team at an angle to the enemy team and shoots them a little bit and then starts rolling away once they pay attention to him. What did I just witness? So this is a Reaper at 3/4 health. Oh, only 2 shots in the clip. And he reloads here. That was a mistake, Reaper. Like, Hammond can't take you down if you don't reload here. Huh. Okay. Okay. Good. It's probably not the tether you wanted. You were probably trying to tether this, which would have been better. Oh boy. Bye-bye!
Ready for combat.
Yeah, no, Storm, I had the same question, but it was because of a really bad reload. I mean, it wasn't like a terrible reload, but it wasn't a good reload from the Reaper. And it was, you know, some good headshots from our ball. We do not fight pocketed soldiers, pocketed McCrees. We don't do it. We might try to do a quick roll through to knock them off high ground, to knock them away. We might play like at an angle to be like, no, pay attention to us. Well, you can't actually hurt us very much. We're not actually going to like fight a pocketed hit scan though.
Powering shields.
Do you see how poorly that just went? That's why we don't do that. You just spent your adaptive shield. You're going to spend forever looking for health packs or waiting for supports to heal you now. No.
Minefield charging.
There's no route there. Your flank is to the left. It is. Ball boom. Wait, just wait it out. Just wait it out. Don't take this engage. Don't take this engage. It's just staggering. No. If you want to live behind them, you can do. No, your adaptive shield.
In transit.
Good. Oh, he just barely got out. Get behind them. No, you had to go deeper. So this is too shallow of a tether. Your tether needed to be more like here because you need your roll through to not take you shallow like it did. You need your roll through to actually put your minefield somewhat on them, but mostly behind them, as opposed to like in front of them. Like you need to put your minefield behind them so that they can't retreat from this supercharger that you guys are going to push forward and shoot them. You need them stuck between the two ults, stuck between your firing lane and your minefield. You need to take that away from them. This is too shallow because this, like, they already didn't want to push into you to fight you. They wanted to line of sight you. If you put the minefield back here, it's much harder for them to run away from you and line of sight you. This would have been so powerful too. Like you guys using all your ults and they should just kite you because your minefield is shallow, you're windowing and supercharging from the same angle, and you're duplicating. Hopefully we have self-destruct behind them. Hopefully.
Powering shields.
Get yourself over here. Work your way over here so that it's beamed just on you. Good. Go right back. Go right back and fight her. Fine. You didn't have ammo. I'll live. Oh, the following. The following. It hurts.
No choice but to attack.
You have 80 shots. You have adaptive shield up. I'd love to have health too, but guess that's not in the cards. Can we shoot at the robot wizard? Can we shoot at the robot wizard? Like, you could have changed the outcome of that fight. You could have taken the Div out of the mech before losing your Echo pretty easily there.
Yo, coming at you.
Nerf this!
10 seconds remaining.
Thanks. Hamster revived.
You can... you can't touch. Yeah.
Victory.
Okay, so you wanted two things. You wanted to know why your team lost, and you wanted the usual, hey, how do I play better? How do I get better thing? And why your team lost is because you had 4.5 minutes, and you guys just sort of staggered. You didn't really take good team fights. When you did your big ult stack, like, that could have worked. You guys went, hey, we're going to use all of our ults. We're going to supercharge from here. We're going to window from here. That was a lot of power, but then your minefield was here. If your minefield is back here, you are much, much more likely to have won that team fight and to have won that game. Like, much likelier. So if you're looking for how can you put this one in the W column, that is a strong indicator, like, right there in that fight. That would have been a difference maker, and that would have potentially been a match difference maker. In terms of more general thing of, hey, you and your team were staggering, you were a big part of your team staggering because your engagement timing was not particularly good, and you can fix your team's engagement time being poor by going, you're going to sync to the most number of your team engaging rather than you trying to set the pace for engagements. You can also, if you get really advanced, start doing some, I'm going to like do slight disrupts to help my team get out so that they stagger less type stuff. But I'm not really worried about that. What we get into, like the things that are actually going to make you as a player improve the most on your Hammond, is specifically more consistently working on your engagement direction. Your first point, your engagement direction was mostly terrible. And for the first bit of your second round, your engagement direction got a bit better, but then it got worse again. Like, you want to consistently be engaging from a direction that isn't the same direction as your team. You want to, therefore, go, hey, I came in from around here type thing. That's what you're looking to do. I came in from up here type thing, if the opponent is right here. I came in from here and knocked over here and then am playing from this direction. So, like, you want your engagement direction to be different than that of your team. So use that time between fights, and it's very easy for you to get to places with health that are a different direction than your team. It puts like a little nervous tick in the opponent's mind of like, wait, there's a ball back there. We know there's a ball back there. We don't like that. That's what you want to do, and then you're going to have that more powerful engage. You're not going to get chipped down as hard on your way in, or if you do get turned and everyone paying attention to you, your team gets to come in super easy. Your team gets to be like no pressure on them to hit their shots because no one is aiming at them. So like that's how you do your tanking with Hammond. Like you come in from a different direction than your team. And in order to facilitate that, you have to remember when you leave a fight mid-fight, you don't go back to your team to get heals, like, oh, I used my slam and my adaptive shield, and now I'm out of cooldowns. You don't leave the fight towards your team. You leave the fight somewhere else to the side, somewhere else to the back. You go get your health backs, and then you can come back in because the direction you leave is linked in some way to the direction that you come back in. You don't want to go back out to your team to be like, oh, back there, I hope that Lucio will heal me or Brig will heal me. No, forget that. You don't really care. One of the accepted costs of playing ball is that you're going to be doing health pack healing, which is uneven ult charge. The opponents did damage to you and get ult charge for that, and your supports are not getting that ult charge back in support play. That's just one of the costs of playing ball, and you accept that cost when you pick the character. You have to get enough value to justify that cost. And you can. You absolutely can. But you do it in part by having the better engagement directions. And then the second thing is I need you to look at your engagement timing. So like when you're looking at this, you have a good idea of where the opponents are because you've been able to scout them out from behind, from the side. You've gotten health packs to get back to a healthy state because maybe you took some damage on your way in as you were pre-setting up, and then you're sort of waiting, you're sort of scouting, and then you can see, because you can see your teammates through walls, when they're ready to engage. And if you have another tank like Reinhardt, when they actually do engage, you can play to his tempo. You can be like, you're engaging? Now I'll come around the back and actually hit my slam. Now I'll do my roll through. Oh, my team is trying to rotate from here to here and it's hard. Okay, maybe I'll do a gentle roll through with my tether to disrupt them a little bit and then come back here, get the health pack, and now I can go in with the next tether for my actual tether, slam, etc. cooldown for the real engage. So like engagement direction, including retreating out to a direction that'll then allow you to come back in from the direction that isn't your team. And then the second thing I want you to work on is that engagement timing. And that's going to involve looking at your team, seeing, is my team in a position where they can actually follow up very quickly if I start the fight, if I make the fight real with like a pile drive, adaptive shield use, all that sort of stuff. Those are the two things that are going to be the most important for you. We could talk about tracking, and long term, that is going to be important for you if you keep playing ball, but that's not short term going to be the most important thing for you. So if you have any questions, you can throw them up in chat now. If anyone else has questions, comments, they can throw them up there as well. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. It's going to be entertaining to watch Temporal review a bottom 500 game. I mean, I've reviewed I've reviewed sub 500 games before, I believe. I've reviewed very low SR games before. Diva Bomb a note over time. Yeah. Temporal, have you ever read 12 Rules for Life? I'm listening to the audiobook for the first time right now. No, I haven't read that one specifically. It's possible I've heard or seen a synopsis type thing. It's possible I've heard it parroted. It's possible it's parroting other things, but I haven't read it specifically, no. Yeah. But a lot of that stuff, when it comes to some of that like self-improvement books, and I don't mean to knock self-improvement books, some of them are great, some of them are garbage, are sort of circling. Some of them are just garbage, but some of them are like, oh, I haven't read that book. But like we could talk like the 4-Hour Work Week, for example, and I haven't read that book, but I know what that book is. I know what that book is. I know that that book is effectively the Pareto principle, where it's like, okay, 80% of the results come from 20% of the outcomes. This is just a reality of nature. This is how life works. We see that this is what happens. And the concept of getting to the 4-Hour Work Week is continuously replacing the 80% of your work that is getting the 20% of the outcomes, moving that to two other things, automating them, moving it offshore, whatever, whereas doing more of the 20% of your work that is getting the 80% of the outcomes. Like, I understand that, so it can be like, oh, I haven't read this specific book, but I'm familiar with the principle that it's heavily drawing from. And if we went into 12 Rules for Life, I may be very familiar with the principles that it's drawing from to get those rules. 12 Rules for Life. That's the Peterson one, isn't it? And then didn't he just announce or just publish 12 more Rules for Life? Jordan Peterson, I think. Okay, I think that's one's 12 Rules for Life. No, I have not read it, though I am familiar with some of his work. Okay. Is 4 heroes too many to main? I love ball and I have 2 DPS I play, but I'm thinking of picking up another tank. I'm not sure. I mean, you can play as many heroes as you want, but it's a lot. Like, if you're wanting to get better, then I would recommend you stay narrow. When you're getting better, when you're like, I want a hardcore get better at the game, like, just like I gave you 2 things to focus on, one thing first with like 5 to 15% of your brain power for like 5 to 50 games, then once you feel like that's part of your autopilot, work on the second thing. Well, if you're like, I'm doing this on ball, and I'm doing this on Anna, and I'm doing this on Kree, and I'm doing this on Genji, whatever, and you're like, here's a Rhine game, here's an Ana game, here's a Genji game, here's another Rein game, here's another Rein game, here's a Kree game, back to an Ana game. It's going to be really hard to actually ingrain much into your system, into your autopilot of improvement if you're constantly bouncing around like that. So I wouldn't recommend you do that. I'd recommend you work on 1 to 2 heroes at a time, and then once you feel like you've made your improvements and locked in on those improvements, if you want, you can either then keep working on those heroes, or you can go, okay, now let me catch up with my other heroes. But I really would recommend like just 1 to 2 heroes for most people for their actual improvement. Once you get to the level where it's like, this is the level I'm playing at. I'm playing at a GM level, and I'm playing at a 4.4 level. I'm playing at a 4.2 level. I'm playing for a diamond team. I'm playing for a silver team. Whatever it is, then you can go, okay, now let me get my other heroes that are relevant to the team compositions or are relevant to the position that I'll be expected to play in the future up to the same level. But while you're doing your climbing, when you don't have a team sort of expectation of being able to play the heroes in your role, I would focus on just 1 to 2 heroes to climb with most of the time. Nordstorm says yes, Jordan Peterson. Yeah, okay, I'm familiar with it. I haven't read the book, but I have seen some of his work, and yeah, and there's definitely some interesting thoughts there. Danana Split says, I have a question. I definitely cannot play Lucio for the life of me, and I was wondering if he's necessary as I push up towards Diamond. I can play Ana well, Merch well, I think that's Mercy, and Baptiste pretty alright. I just do so poorly on him. How important would it be to improve on him? Well, you can build a hero pool without Lucio. Like, if you're just playing for yourself, your hero pool is already fine. If you're looking to, at some point in the future, play a hero pool that doesn't include Lucio and be okay on a team, well, then you're looking to play flex support heroes, and what you'd be looking at is, hey, if you can play Ana and Bap, you need to add Zen. If you want to take a lot of advantage of playing Mercy, you're going to be expected to be able to play Lucio. But if you're just looking to play for yourself, I mean, he's never the only support that needs to be played. It's always him and someone else or not him at all. So, like, yeah, you can absolutely get away with not playing him. And will you potentially lose a couple games because, like, it's a Lucio Bat meta and neither of you can play Lucio? Sure, you'll lose a couple, but not the end of the world, especially if you're hard grinding your BAP. That's just an example. Lucio players are in low supply and ranked. Very nice to have one. I don't know. I think Blah would argue that they're an endangered species that he'd rather be extinct. Lucio's a little tough. Like, good Lucios are great. They show more value in organized play than in ranked play. They absolutely have value in ranked play, but where are you going to get your value? Are you going to get your value out of comms? Are you going to get your value out of Redditing in their backline? Are you going to get your value out of just a ton of really good peel? Well, you can be the best Lucio in the world if your Ana looks shaky or your Zen looks shaky. It's still going to be rough because, your Ana or your BAP still has to deliver a bunch of heals, and if they're feeling shaky, you being really good makes the job easier, but like it's more important that they be good than that you be good is the unfortunate reality. So, it's like being like, yes, we're going to protect our queen piece, but our queen piece is actually, I don't know, a pawn in their ability to play the game, and we're using a rook to protect it. Well, that doesn't make sense. Bad analogy. Interesting. My main duo queues Ryan, so I'll probably need just a little practice. Up to you. Up to you. You can absolutely be like, hey, we're an Ana Ryan combination. We're a BAP Ryan combination. That's fine. Potato asks, how would you bucket the tanks? I can play Ryan and Winston fairly okay, but was kind of lacking on Zarya and Orisa. Not great at all at Sigma Hog and absolutely feeding on ball. Okay. Wondering, same question, but for tank mains. So tank mains, I just divided up supports for you. Tanks have the main tank category and the off tank category. And in the main tank category, we have Ryan, we have Winston, we have Orisa, and we have Ball. In the off tank category, officially, what we have would be Zarya, Diva, Hog, and Sigma. In practice, you will in some compositions find a Winston off tank, a Ryan Winston combination, for example, a ball off tank, or perhaps a Winston off tank from a ball Winston combination. But really, these are the expectations for what a main tank versus an off tank can play. This is what you're looking at. It is. So if you're telling me that your Ball and your Orisa are both bad, then you're not a main tank. And if you're telling me that, I mean, you can be a main tank, but you're not like ready for, yes, you can play everything your team needs. Now, I don't know what rank you're at because, if you're in gold, for example, it's very likely that your support also can't play all the things they need to. They can play Mercy but can't play Lucio. They can play Ana and Bat but can't play Zen, etc. And you just sort of make the best you can do of those things. But if you're like trying to no, I'm trying to build my pool correctly so that you have the option to play on a team in case you enjoy that in the future, because it is quite enjoyable, then you want to be building towards one of these hero pools. Main tanks are also in low supply and ladder. Very, very. So if you looked at those, it looks like you described a little more in the main tank category, where you play Ryan and Winston fairly okay, but you'd need to level up your Orisa and your Ball if you wanted to do that. Or you could go the other route, though you didn't tell me everything about your off-tank play. It's lacking on Zarya, not great at Hog Sigma. So, like, if Diva's the only off tank you can play, well, you're in luck because most metas are Diva metas. I'm kidding, but not really. But yeah, if you're like, hey, Diva's your best tank, you might go, okay, as much as it sucks, maybe you want to level these ones up instead. And of these, usually Hog would be the least important to level up, if we're being honest. I would say this order would be the order of importance of knowing your tanks in most scenarios, and your off tanks. In this particular scenario, Hog might be a little bit more important because of buffs. There are occasional times, so like at this specific time, he might be a little more important. And 1 and 2 are a fair bit ahead of 3 and 4. Okay. Adam Nicholas shares that Temporal sucks. Okay, thank you, Adam. Good Diva player, yes please. Diva's been meta for such a long time, I swear. You need them on your teams. Okay. Okay. Looks like we're good there. If you guys have any final questions, you can throw them in chat now. If you guys want to be able to throw questions in chat yourself, you're like, wait, how do I pick this former top contenders coach brain? How do I interact with him and get my questions answered like these people are? Well, the best way to do that is to catch me live, and you can do that by joining my Discord in the description below. And in there, you can go down to the Get Notifications channel and react to become a watcher. And if you're a watcher, you get Discord pings when I go live that show you what rank, what hero we're reviewing, or what topic we're covering. If we're covering an event, like we covered AMC announcing that it would be adopting Bitcoin yesterday. We cover, things like that, other topics as well. We might be reviewing someone else's hero guide, all that good stuff. If it's a topic that interests you, you can see it and you can decide if you want to be here to comment, to ask questions, all that good stuff. Honor, justice, temporal sex. Okay, Adam. Okay. And Banana Split. All right, take it easy. I'll get a game reviewed soon enough. Sounds good. Okay, that'll do it for now. Thanks,